A very good afternoon to all of you. We have two very distinguished guests in this session. To my left, as you know, Ms. Priyanka Chaturvedi, Deputy Leader of Shiv Sena in the Rajya Sabha and party spokesperson. And to my right, Mr. Saptagiri Ulaka, who kept the Congress flag flying in the 2019 elections, one from Koraput. And ideally, we should have had somebody from the BJP taking the stage. But since it could not be possible, we will make do with two stalwarts of the opposition. And my first question will be common for both of you. And it will be, I'll request Ms. Chaturvedi to take the first question.
Yes.
What do you think what are the issues that you think are going to influence the voting in the rural areas in the country in the coming elections?
Firstly, it's a total pleasure to be here in Odisha. I've come after several years. But it's a state close to my heart because just before this session, we were discussing about cyclone, etc. And when we were struck by COVID, Maharashtra also learned a lot from how Odisha was managing its COVID protocols. So, and it's a state where I have been closely following from where it was and where it has come. So it's a pleasure to be here. With regards to rural issues, all I'd say is, if you look at the agriculture distress, that is one, I come from the state of Maharashtra and I see a lot of farmer deaths that happen, farmer suicides that happen. I've tried to find out what are the reasons that could happen. So access to finance is a huge problem. To nationalized banks giving loans at better rate of interest, they end up taking loans from money lenders which charge a high rate of interest, which leads to a position where due to climatic conditions, cyclone, drought, whatever, can create a problem for their outcomes. So that is one issue which, the rising debts that they face is one issue. If you look at the wages, the Manrega wages, etc., it hasn't changed over a decade. It hasn't changed. Rather, it has come down in many places. That's a second issue. The third issue for me, which I personally feel impacts a lot of lives, not just in rural areas, but even in urban areas, is the cost of living. I have been raising this issue forever, that inflation, while I was reading the newspaper today morning, retail inflation has hit another high, especially the food inflation. So your incomes are not increasing, but your expenses are increasing. And that leads to lesser asset creation, lesser investments, lesser savings, of course. And that is a huge challenge. So for me, if you were to ask me, these are the issues I will take to the people of this country. And every single Indian would ultimately need to understand that unke plate mein jo thali hai, wo Modi ji ke some guarantees that have been given will not fulfill it. Yeah. What will fulfill it is that besides the guarantee, there's suitable action which leads to better outcomes, better livelihoods for our people.
Mr. Ulaka, your take on the issues that are going to influence the next election?
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to thank OTV and the whole group for inviting me over here. And being from Congress party, and definitely would like to use this platform to put forward our views as well. सर्वप्रथमे आपण समस्तଙ୍କୁ जय जगन्नाथ प्रभु जगन्नाथ हम समस्तଙ୍କୁ मंगल करंतु सही मनोकामना करिवे. When we talk about rural issues, I'll give a broader picture. Basically, when we were in power in UPA, we pulled out around 271 million people out of poverty. That's 2006 to 2015. So we had some very groundbreaking like poverty elevation kind of policies, and it was mostly by our leadership, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Sonia Gandhi ji, who was a UPA chairperson. We came up with Manrega, which was a flagship program. We came up with Right to Education, Food Security Act, Right to Information, and a lot of intervention. As a tribal, I am proud that Forest Rights Act or PESA, there's a strengthened land acquisition bill was strengthened. And there was a lot of intervention where we focused on how to bring people out of poverty, and that was a great achievement from our side. I was really disappointed, like when I heard in the parliament, our Prime Minister saying that Congress had come with Manrega, लोगों को गड्ढा खोलने के लिए छोड़ दिए. That was something very disappointed that I heard like such responsible. But if you look at it, the number of people who have been pulled out of poverty, now the numbers which I just read some time back, is about 45 crore people. So around 18 crore people have been pulled out of poverty over the last 5-6 years, till 1920 data this is. And the biggest intervention has always been Manrega. The government, irrespective of saying that they don't like the program, they kept on pushing money in Manrega. During Corona time, we have seen witness, large money was sanctioned Manrega, rural employment guarantee thing. So as a Congress party, when we look at the election, there are three primary things which we would like to focus on: social justice, economic justice, and political justice. When I talk about economic justice, the biggest challenge here in the rural area throughout the country has been unemployment. And if I take about Odisha also, there's distress migration, how to take care of it. When we talk about social justice, the atrocities against women, the atrocity against tribals, the SC, ST, OBC, they have not been included in the mainstream. This is something we have to do. Political justice, especially I like to talk about political justice as well. If you go to the rural areas, I am a sitting MP and I'm connected to the grassroots. What is very unfortunate is the Nagarpalikas, the Panchayats, the funding has been almost frozen. Now they have a different system where nominated members go and distribute the funds. We have Special Development Council in Odisha itself. And you see the lot of intervention like the CM Special Assistant Fund, Relief Fund. One people go to the villages and say that, give me a grievance, I'll address it. I as an MP, my MP lad is not being able to, I am not able to spend the MP lad. But for churches, temples and everything, they have been giving crores and crores of rupees, which is unconstitutional, I would say that. The Sarpanch doesn't have any money now, it has been completely frozen. Panchayat Raj system was the intervention of Congress government. We want to empower the three-tier system. But that is not happening now. This is the political justice. And as an MP, what I have seen, this was really unfortunate. Around 146 MPs, including Priyanka ji and me, were suspended from the parliament. And they passed bills without the opposition. These three primary things are something which the Congress is hell-bent on taking up the issue of the people. We don't have a level playing field, honestly, like the media, social media. We don't have a level playing field. We are fighting against ED, CBI, IT, mainstream media, all the institutes. So the only way left for us to reach to the people, Sri Rahul Gandhi ji, he had had a Bharat Jodo Yatra from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. We reserve the people. We are starting a Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra again from Manipur. We, all the MPs and our senior leaders, we are flying to Manipur. And unfortunate thing is, Manipur, they are not giving us permission to have Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. If they think that Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, the Congress, they are nothing, why are they scared of? The Assam's chief minister, he is not giving permission to erect tents in Assam. They have imposed section 144 in Manipur. What are you scared of? And if the development model of the government is so good, why is all this happening now? You don't see TV what you're seeing. 24 hours you open the channel and I don't want to say what is happening here. I am saying very proudly, I am a Ram Bhakt. I am saying very proudly, I am a Jai Jagannath, Prabhu Jagannath Bhakt. Sabari Mata Jai Jagannath, we had relation to tribals and Prabhu Jagannath. This is not an issue. The issue is unemployment, price rise. The issue is the gaps in the income parity. 1% of the people control 99% of the wealth. How far this is fair? Unemployment is an issue. And throughout this distress migration, unemployment, all these things will reach out to the people. And I'm definitely, with the India Alliance coming together, with all of us coming together, we have decided that with all humility, we understand our limitations, our challenges, and we are ready to go to the people. And we are sure that 2024, the India Alliance, we are very confident of coming back to the power. Thank you, sir.
If you say there is a lot of resentment among the people in the rural areas, why is it that it is not getting reflected in the elections that we have seen over the last couple of years? What makes you believe that the people will vote any differently in the coming election?
Yeah, so I firmly believe that this election will be different. And when we say saving the constitution, I would like to explain what it means here. From 2019, when I became a member of parliament, when 370 was abrogated, half an hour or 10 minutes before the Lok Sabha started, none of us were aware what is happening. Rajya Sabha, the Honorable Home Minister, he presented the bill. He came to Lok Sabha and the next day he passed the bill. They were literally bulldozed. The farmers' bill, the three bills, we were in the well of the house, they bulldozed the bill and that was passed, but they had to take it back again after some months. So it's not that we can't win election. We have shown that in Karnataka, we have shown that in Himachal Pradesh, we showed that in Telangana. In Telangana, we were the number 3 party. But because we went to the people, we went full blown to the people, our leadership, everyone worked together, we got it. Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, I understand that we couldn't convert it. But if you look at the vote share, we have not lost our vote share. Is that people didn't vote us enough so that we could convert that vote share into seats. But it's a positive sign and we are pretty confident that this will be different. Had there been development for the last 9-10 years, why is all this happening around religious platforms now? Why is polarization happening on Ram Temple, Jagannath Temple and so on? Why doesn't the Prime Minister go to the people with a development agenda and say that I built this many bridges, I built this many hospitals, why don't you vote for me? Because they want to divert the attention of the anger of the people. The challenges is unemployment, the challenge is price rise, the challenge is the wealth parity, and this the people will realize, and we are now directly going to the people. We don't rely on any other medium, and we are confident that we will be doing very good job along with our partners in India, and definitely this election is no easy walk for Mr. Modi and his party.
Mr. Chaturvedi, I'll come to you next. Do you think the issues and priorities of the rural voters have changed since the last election, or do they remain the same?
No, I don't think they remain the same. And just a little correction, and it would be something that would be surprise many here. I haven't been suspended this time. I'm not in the list of 140. Yeah. So the question with regards to rural, the agenda, there are a lot of aspirations. There is the young now looking forward, looking towards an India which is talking about being amongst the top 5 nations in the world in terms of GDP, and it's talking about moving into the top 3, it's talking about a $5 trillion economy. So there is this entire sense of aspiration that yes, we also need to be part of this system. How are we addressing that aspiration? Our aspirations should have to meet up with not just their expectations, but how we can help them sustain those aspirations and make them dream big. And that, I think, is the fundamental idea that hopefully India as an agenda will take forward.
Okay. Taking off from that, has the rural youth become more aspirational than it was in the last election?
Absolutely. I think since the youngsters are looking at a lot of aspects of future options, education options, career options, jobs, etc., they do have these aspirations, and the aspirations will only keep changing with the changing times. So today, if they aspired, a farmer's child wanted to be a farmer or expand the farming space for himself, he may look at other career options as well, because a lot of things are opening up for them. They're seeing a world, and now internet is bringing the world close to you. You're seeing how people from other countries are living. And what I personally believe is that employment would be a huge issue for the young. Educational opportunities, whether they're looking at skill-based opportunities, whether they're looking at getting these degrees and becoming entrepreneurs, and most important, the entrepreneurship is that's idea of that we will start our own businesses is something that is hitting even every rural town. And 2-tier cities, rural areas are also coming up with, I think Rahul was mentioning YouTube. You are seeing a lot of YouTube content coming from there. So those are, and if we look closely, if we hear closely, you'll probably see an emergence of a different agenda. But I agree, at the core of it is what Saptagiri was saying, social justice, political justice, and economic justice. That would be the basis of any ideas or visions that we push forward. And I think not just in rural areas, even in urban areas, that's a problem of underemployment and unemployment.
Mr. Ulaka, Mr. Chaturvedi stressed on the problem of unemployment, and data says the unemployment rate is the highest in the last 4.5 decades. And what are you going to promise to the rural youth? What are you going to be your offer to the rural youth? How are you going to solve this problem? The India Alliance in general and your party in particular?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very good question, and we have been deliberating it also. Like, we understand that Modi government is the reason for unemployment, which is the highest in more than 4.5 decades. But we just don't want to go with the problem. We also want to come with a solution. One problem solution which we think is this skill development, ancillary units. Now you have large industries, but if you have the ancillary, for example, I'll say bauxite. You have alumina which is being exported to outside country and come back as aluminium. Why can't you have a refinery and then a smelter plant in that place? And then the end product. So this, you need to think how are you going to expand on whatever capacity you have. The biggest challenge for me is this employment system. Currently we have many colleges and which are in like private colleges, so on. The people who are getting educated, they are not employable. I was a program manager in Infosys as well. I see that the pass outs normally, which we've seen some decades back, and now they are not employable. And people are not willing to move out of their houses because there is no job opportunity. So they are staying unemployed. We have started on this. If you look at Karnataka and Telangana, we are working with industry leaders how we can build ancillary units, how we can build this small MSMEs, for example. The Notebandi was the main reason why MSMEs completely shut down. I had a parliament question where they said in KBK region around 90% MSMEs were shut down completely. How we can encourage this MSME? This is also in our blueprint also, like it will come in our manifesto as well, which is work in progress. How to enforce this MSME sectors, how to enforce that we have ancillary units, how to ensure that the youth are being trained and they are more employable. Skill development is something there. And we will discuss with industry leaders, just not create big industries, but they need to come with something where they can employ the youth also. Interestingly, there is Khargeji. He had Article 371J, which said in the Karnataka Bangalore region, only the locals 80% will be employed locally. Yeah. This is a phenomenal thing which not many of us know, and this he discussed with me, like this is what he has done. Now in my Koraput parliament segment, we have many industries, but our youth are not getting employed. One, the industry doesn't care if they are locals or not. Second, they are not employable. This needs to be fixed. And this is a fix in all the different clusters which our idea is. And also something, till this is fixed, our government in Karnataka, they've been giving unemployment grants, for example, like 3,000 for graduates and 1,500 for this diploma holders, so that they get trained for some certain point of time and then they get engaged. So this is something we will take care of the youth. They need to believe in us, our leadership, and this we will deliver. Whatever we promised, we have delivered. We have delivered Manrega, we have delivered RTA, Food Security Act, many, many flagship programs, which is only for the poorer masses. This is what our belief is.
I think you'll agree that closely linked to the problem of unemployment is the problem of distress migration, which is a huge problem in Odisha. And the government and the ruling party, they are saying migration happens everywhere, not just in Odisha. People from Gujarat keep coming in, work here. People from Uttar Pradesh, they come work here. Similarly, Odisha people go out there. So there is nothing very startling or very distressing about the problem of migration. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's really this government, Odisha government, especially BJD, should be ashamed of themselves that distress migration is happening in a state like Odisha, which is so rich in minerals, so rich in resources. When you can give 50 lakh to each panchayat before election, why can't you take care of workers and engage them locally? And this distress migration, it happens only in Odisha. People from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, they come here in higher jobs. But our people go there as low-end manual jobs where they can be easily employed here. It's an agriculture-rich state. It's a resource-rich state. There's no problem. Like, you need to have a focus and vision to take care of our own people. And this is the biggest failure of this government, that distress migration is still happening. We have seen in Corona times, around, I think, 1 million people, they came back from Gujarat here. There were distress calls, they walked, they came back by buses through multiple days. People will never forget this. And let me tell you something, like all these things can be hushed up, but ultimately when you reach out to the people, they will understand what is happening. You need to come with a new narrative and how to solve it. And definitely a week is a long time in politics, this was understand here.
Thank you. Ms. Chaturvedi, I'll stress on the gender question a little by asking you, do you feel that there is a gender divide in the voting pattern? To put it in other words, do women vote differently from men in rural areas?
Okay, I was actually going to come to that, that I'd be doing my gender a lot of injustice if I would leave a conversation of them out of this entire conversation, because rural wages impact women a lot. So there are many women who are working on the fields, but they are unpaid laborers. And they'll never be part of the formal economy because we just totally look through them, look past them. And we expect them to be part of this, the machinery of ecosystem of helping. But when they think of, expecting some kind of financial benefit of it, they are denied that. So that is one challenge that we are facing. Now, in terms of how women are voting, 100% women are voting when they think through who they think as their leader, what is he doing for them, what is she thinking about it, what is she promising to me? So the women are definitely voting. Earlier there was this entire set feeling that women will vote as per whatever their family asks them to vote, or they don't have a mind of their own. That was a thought process. But women are proving all of them wrong. They go out there, they vote their mind, and you have surprising outcomes as well. They outnumber men, they choose who they're voting for, and you see surprising outcomes as well, because till now, women as a vote bank was totally ignored. Now suddenly every political party is waking up to it in terms of representation also. The special session that was called for women representation, increasing the representation, unfortunately it will not be applicable in 2024. It has come for a future date, and that future date is unknown. However, it is a conversation which was happening for past 2 decades, and finally it has passed into an act, but implementation, no act in the world has come, has been passed like this, by the way. In the world, in our history, world history, democracy as a history, nowhere. But anyway, I would say it's a positive sign, and yes, they are voting their mind, they are making their vote count, they're coming out in larger numbers, and that is why you will see a lot of policies which would be women-centric.
Mr. Ulaka, you represent a constituency which is predominantly tribal. Tribals outnumber other communities. So do you feel that the agenda for the tribal people are a little different from rural people in general, or are this two the same?
No, it will be a bit different. You need to understand in depth the issue of tribals here. When we had the government, we wanted to provide rights to the tribals. Like when we came up with FRA, PESA, Indira Gandhi ji, she intervened, she gave 2 acres of land, she gave goats and all to the people, she tried to establish them, build houses for them. Indira Awas Yojana, Rajiv started by her name only. Now what we are saying is that from 2014, the government which is in power, they've been trying to dilute all the laws which safeguards the interest of tribals. For tribals, our biggest value or resource is our land. Land alienation is a problem. So if you dilute the lands, like recently I think the environment bills were amended, where now the forest officers in the local area, they have the power to override, like they can decline the Forest Right Act and deny the land to the tribals. So systematically what is happening is they're working in such a way, land which is our resource, this be taken away from tribals. Like I gave an example, I had an intervention in Parliament. Bharatmala project goes through my constituency. And the tribal, he can't sell his land, and he need to have 5 acres of land before he can sell to another tribal. So this causes historically our transactions are very less. So 1 acre of land for a tribal is around 50,000 rupees. That same 1 acre of land for a non-tribal would be at least 1 crore rupees in my area. Now it's fine. For safeguarding the interests of tribals, they're doing it is fine that they won't be landless. Now, what the government is doing, they're diluting the laws where projects like Bharatmala or big industries, they can take over the land of the tribals. This is really something which we are losing our land anyway, and they're taking over at 50,000 rupees. So we are losing the land by the dilution of the laws, and they're doing it by sabotaging our constitution or They are suspending MPs, they are not, we are in the well, they're passing the bills, there are no discussion happening. And this is something which will be in our agenda, and we'll have special focus on tribals. We have done a lot for tribals, and we also know what the government is doing to take up the right of the tribals. This will come in our manifesto as well. We will try to explain. One thing is something we had a limitation or lacking was we didn't understand that the election campaign has changed now. You need election management, you need narrative setting, you need to go to the people, explain them exactly what you're going to do. This, we have learned from our mistakes, and we are going to take care of that. And a detailed discussion, we have a very good team, manifesto team, led by Chidambaram ji, where we are focusing on each and every section of the people. The tribal will be different from other things, but overall, social justice, political justice, and economic justice, this will apply for the tribals as well.
Ms. Chaturvedi, your party is perceived to be, and I stress the term perceived to be. I'm not saying it is a reality, but it is perceived to be essentially an urban party, and your vote banks are essentially in the urban areas. The BJP also for a long time suffered from the same problem, but the BJP appears to have somehow cracked the rural code, as evident in its victories in the northern belt and many other states. So how are you going to battle this perception that the Shiv Sena is essentially an urban party?
So two things. Shiv Sena is also a Hindu-centric party. The Hindu view of life that Rahul was mentioning, I look at it from the Ram Rajya perspective. Bhagwan Shri Ram's temple is going to be inaugurated on 22nd. What was Ram Rajya? The Hindu view of life, when we say hame Ram Rajya chahiye, what is Ram Rajya? Ram Rajya is where we try to remove all disparities, where we try to remove all inequalities, where we try to give respect to the woman in the society, where we ensure that law and order is supreme, where we ensure there's no hate, where we ensure that there's no divisiveness. Shiv Sena continues to believe in that fact that the Hindu view of life is not the Hindu political view of life that is being shown as the Hindu view of life. Politics as a karma and politics as a dharma are two different things. You're mixing the two. Your karma can be your political life, but your dharma has to supersede that karma. And that is what Shiv Sena believes in. So urban party, rural party is one thing. Everyone should have equal opportunities. And I will tell you, during the COVID period, I'd say that I'm grateful that we had someone like Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray at the helm during COVID period, because we saw no inequalities, whether rural, whether urban. It was a model which was appreciated worldwide. Everybody looked at the Dharavi space. What will happen in Dharavi? Mumbai is a place which is about to burst into a COVID storm, etc. We controlled that. And in terms of rural inadequacies, after what was done unconstitutionally through illegal means, how the government was brought down, across the length and breadth of Maharashtra, there is just one word, that what has happened is unjust, incorrect, against the Hindu view of life and Hindu way of life. And we are going to set it right by bringing Shiv Sena back into power. So that is what I think is Shiv Sena.
Mr. Ulakai, you said you have learned your lessons, and I'm sure one of the lessons that you must have learned is how to use the social media. But with vast areas in the rural India, having the problem of connectivity, do you think social media will be an effective tool to attract voters in the rural areas? Or is the campaign going to depend less on social media and actual door-to-door campaigns more?
Say it's a hybrid model actually. So social media is definitely an important factor in winning elections. And when I say we learned our lessons, 2014 we completely ignored this platform. Then there's a platform for political management also, like a team where booth management, everything, how do you coordinate now? So all these kind of things are something which are required. But to win election, this is not enough. They will help you win the election and reach your narrative to the people. And when you talk about social media, I think the main way how it's being done is WhatsApp groups. And this is something I think in days of today, almost every villages, even if they don't have connection, what they do is normally in my area, what I say, they go to a place where there is connection, they download all the messages and go back to the villages and see that. So this become a trend. Even if there's no connection, they have a mobile phone in all villages. And we cannot ignore this platform. And definitely, like, what is our strategy? This is something which I can't disclose here now, but we are focusing on that, and we will tick all check boxes. We'll come with a narrative. We'll come with a vision for the country. Still, I don't know what is the vision of the current Prime Minister for 2047. He's talking about being a third largest economy or the largest economy. At the same time, he's boasting that we are giving free food to 80 crore people. So they say clearly we don't understand. And if he has done so much of development, why all this polarization on religious lines? So definitely they are on a shaky wicket. And the India Alliance, we are coming stronger day by day. All our discussion are happening. We are sorting out all the issues. And we are on the right track. We will give our best, and then we'll leave out the judgment of the people here.
I am afraid we will have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Mr. Chaturvedi and Mr. Ulaka, for your wonderful thoughts and expression. That's